and welcome to the IGN Arena Podcast. This is our place to talk about MOBAs and competitive gaming on IGN, and I am so excited. You can subscribe to IGN Arena on iTunes or at youtube.com/IGN Arena. And I'm your host, Leah B. Jackson. I'm so excited to be here today.
You look excited.
I really am.
It's finally
happening.
happening.
Talking about MOBAs on IGN. So this is awesome, and I'm happy that you guys are here with me.
Me too.
So you guys are Brian.
Hey,
Albert.
I'm Brian Albert, everyone.
Yep, this is James Faulkner.
Hi.
And Mitch Dyer.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Howdy, howdy.
So today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about Dota 2, League of Legends, and the future of MOBAs. But first, I kind of want to kick it off to you guys and ask you, what was your first MOBA? Ooh. So, Brian.
I'm starting?
You're starting.
You're probably the most experienced of us, right? You and Leah maybe in like close contention.
So, before I was hired here, I was a freelancer at GameSpot.
Yes.
And my reviews editor was like, "You like MOBAs?" And I'm like, "Well, I like money.
I like
getting paid to
I
review
love the
games."
work you're offering me. I will learn to love them."
So he assigned me a review for this game called Battle for Graxia, which I guess used to be called Rise of Immortals, and then they took that down and turned it into a more proper MOBA.
Oh man,
yeah.
I've heard of neither of these,
And
so this is.
Yeah, me either.
I played it and I was like, "This is the best." And people were like, "Hold on, I think you just like MOBAs, but maybe this one isn't like awesome. Why don't you try League or Dota?" But anyway, that was my first. And
didn't it have like a lord that like had like a giant castle and he could walk around and like hit stuff?
I think so. The game was really dumb because there was like a dinosaur character and then the skins were like one was just Barney, like it was Barney basically.
So now that you're more experienced, looking back, are you like,
now I feel it's gone.
Awesome.
MOBA's gone. It shut down after a few months.
Like you can't even play it anymore.
No.
Wow. R.I.P.
Yeah, totally.
But no, after that, people were like, "Why don't you play League or Dota?" And Dota was already on Steam, and so I went to that and have never left.
So did you play Dota when it was in beta, or did you play it after it launched?
I played in beta.
Okay.
I played it, I believe, for a few matches a long time ago, and was like, I can't.
Right. Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
And
like
then,
you do when you play Dota.
Right. Exactly. And then maybe, well, I guess about a year ago when I did that review, is when I was like, yeah, okay, I can do this, and I put in 1,100 hours into Dota, and there's no signs of stopping.
Yeah.
About half of that, to be fair, is watching pro games.
Watching games, leaving the clients on overnight.
Yep,
Exactly.
Totally. So, James, what about you?
I played like a couple games of League during season 1. And like after that, I was like, I don't understand this. I had no one to teach me. I was just like, I heard this was popular, and I went in and I was like, oh, I have no idea. Stopped playing, played a couple games of Dota 2 during the beta, and then got into the competitive LoL scene. Like I watched a ton of LCS and started playing a ton of League, and then recently all I play is Dota.
Yeah, we converted you. You were playing League for a long time. Yeah. You guys were like way hardcore. You were trying to convince me to play, and I dabbled. And I was like, I don't really know this is for me. But I
was a bad teacher though.
We've brought you. You really do need a good teacher to learn a MOBA.
Leah's a good teacher.
If I didn't have Leah, I would not have stayed with Dota.
She's converted people.
So Dota was my first. I'm the greenest of the bunch to the genre as a whole. Like I dabbled with League and was like, yeah, this is cool. I get the appeal, but it's just not for me. And when we hired you two specifically, you were like, MOBAs are great. Dota is great. I've played a lot of Dota. And I wanted to understand why you were so into it. And we started, and I hated it. I hated Dota.
Mitch hated Dota so much, you guys.
Everything about it.
It was crazy. Like, even the little things that the characters say. Like,
the
he would
dialogue,
come in and be like, I hate that this
art
character
style,
says this thing.
I hate the writing. Every time you would just complain.
It was so dumb. Like, all that, like, he pwned his head. I'm like, that's so dumb. And the dumb, snippy dialogue these idiots say to each other is so...
And now you love it.
And now you love it.
And I love it. I love all of that stupid garbage. I just love it. Yeah, but it really took a lot of time. Probably like 10 hours of hating it and playing with Leah and having Leah be like, you're doing really bad. Don't do so bad. But doing it in a really doing it in like a nurturing, motherly way. Where it's like, no, sweetie, don't do it like that.
First rule of MOBAs, don't die.
Yeah, seriously, hang back.
Don't feed.
Run away. Don't feed.
Don't feed.
And Dota's like the only MOBA I play. I know a lot of people kind of bounce between them, but it's the only one I really have any interest in playing.
It's just you will never master it. And so if something new comes out, I'll go check it out and see what's different.
We've dabbled in Heroes a little bit.
I'm not as good as I could be at Dota.
Sure. I could be spending this time getting better at playing Bloodseeker, so...
Oh, man. I like the Bloodseeker.
He was my first like really good hero.
God, you were good as Blood.
Leah, was yours?
Those days are gone.
Was yours first Dota 2?
My first wasn't Dota 2. It was the original Dota.
Played some
Oh,
Dota.
Yeah, so way back when I was playing the original Dota
Leah's
in
legit.
Warcraft 3, and I really liked playing as Techies. And Techies isn't even in Dota 2
So you've had a
yet,
rough year.
But he, I mean, he'll be there soon. He wasn't my favorite character or anything, but it was really fun to play as him. You just sort of blow up other characters. You can suicide bomb, hug them. So that was fun. I really enjoyed the original Dota, and it definitely got me interested in MOBAs in general, and now I'm playing Dota 2, and it's fun and exciting to see how the characters have sort of evolved and how much better it looks and everything like that. So it's exciting as sort of an old school Dota player to come to the new game and witness all this new stuff and see all the new faces that are really into it now.
It's especially interesting watching people come into the genre via Heroes of the Storm, because it's like, here's this franchise, and franchise is all in one place that you know and love, in a really distilled, simplified version of a MOBA, in a format you understand, in settings you understand. And it's like, okay, all of this is really familiar. It feels like Warcraft, it feels like StarCraft, it feels like whatever, or Diablo. And it's got all those characters in familiar places that I know. Like, that's really welcoming, and that's going to bring a whole lot of people to the genre. But I worry that that is going to be bad for them, because they're going to expect all MOBAs to be that way. And it's like, Heroes is really good, but it's really simple.
Blizzard is sort of couching it in this casual game category, and
Which
I
is
think that's
great.
Yeah, I think that's really smart, because if you go into Dota 2 or you go into League of Legends, you sort of expect it to be a little bit more hardcore just because of how the game plays and how the type of people that play it. But with Heroes, it's like Blizzard doesn't want it to be an esport. They're saying it's for casual gamers. They are making it as easy and simplified as possible, and I think that's smart. And like you were saying, I think it will be good if it is people's first MOBA.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to, in case you don't know, like, why it's a little easier, just like the whole team levels up together, and like, there's no last hitting.
There's no creeps.
there
are creeps, but there's no last hitting.
There's builds and there's no items, though.
Right.
Yeah.
There's also like weird sub-objectives where it becomes a questy kind of game where you have to go activate these beacons, which let you summon a dragon that you play, or you go underground and kill as many skeletons as you can. And like, there's also these weird elements that just are, if you were doing that in Dota, you'd be like, this is a nuisance. I don't want to do this. But in Heroes, it makes a lot of sense because it gives you more to do, and it kind of applies more to the sensibilities of Blizzard design. And people who play Blizzard games know that, like, oh, this is a fun quest that I'm going to go do to make money and help my team, and it just makes sense for that particular game.
Right.
And go ahead. It also, I think the biggest thing, it has multiple maps.
Yeah.
Which is the craziest thing for anyone who plays
League or Dota or
any other MOBA.
Is like Han one map too?
I don't know.
Oh, whatever.
Well, what was your first MOBA? We want to know, now you know ours, we want to know what you guys played. So let us know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to IGN Arena at youtube.com/IGN Arena for more on MOBAs. Now we're going to switch gears, and we're going to talk about the international.
Ooh,
so we're going to go
I've heard of that.
We're going to go from sort of our humble beginnings to sort of the hardest of the hardcore. The international is the biggest Dota 2 tournament of the year. Brian, tell us about the international.
I mean, you just summed it up. It's the biggest tournament of the year. Last year it was, what was the prize pool? Like 3.2 million or something like that?
2.8 million was the final prize pool.
And that was
last
the
year.
biggest at the time, and now it's already at
4.5
million or something
yeah.
like that. It's really great. You just in the client, you buy this thing called a compendium, and it's a book, and it's like, well, pick your favorite teams.
It's like when you go to a sports game and you're like, you want to buy the program? It's got your favorite players' pictures in it.
Except it's
So
not
much
garbage.
more awesome. Yeah.
It is indeed not garbage.
Yeah, it lets you get involved. You level up your book, which gives you more battle points, so you can level up faster. It gives you more items for your heroes. Mm-hmm. It's just a good way to get involved and to kind of understand who the teams are and who's on them and like what's happening.
Yeah, it's Valve basically giving you a $10 invitation to the international before the international, where you establish everything you need to know about the show and the event before it happens, but it gives you benefits the entire time leading up to it and then during it when you watch games.
Right. And the cool thing about it is some of the money you spend on the compendium goes directly to that pool. And also you can...
$2.50, I think it is.
I think so.
Yeah.
And then if you buy the little... You can level it up by participating and watching qualifier matches, or you can just
you can spend money
to level it up. And some of that money also goes to the prize pool.
100%. Spend
I totally
$10
did that
on
too.
that. Yep.
But at the
My
same
compendium's
time,
up 26. What's yours, James?
You're putting money back into the prize pool, so a lot of people don't see, why that's such a bad thing.
Sure.
I think it's a little money grubby, but I definitely think, some people have the money and want to support esports, and this is a great way that they can do that.
100%.
So I think the compendium is awesome this year.
Yeah, they have so many, they have the Kickstarter stretch goals things going
Yes.
on.
New couriers if you hit this mark. New mode if you hit this mark.
And what I appreciate is the stuff at the very far end. We're at 4.5 million. I think the top end is 6 or 7 million stretch goal.
6.
That's maybe we'll hit it, maybe not. But I think a lot of the coolest stuff was front loaded.
Yeah.
So
the emoticons.
Yeah, exactly.
New music.
Everyone got a courier. There's a new mode
music.
already that's confirmed to come out. I don't know. You don't have to just sit there and hope for something cool. We got cool
contribute
stuff several days ago.
Yeah, and if you buy the compendium now, you get everything that's already been unlocked.
Yep.
You don't have to be there from the start to get the early stuff, which is really, really smart.
And also includes a little bit of metagame of it gives you a pool of champions that they hey, you can play these champions and you'll get points for playing these champions.
And it's the smartest way for them to encourage you to play people you don't know. It's oh, you've never played Omni Knight? Well, now you can get points for it.
Yeah,
Pro
I've only been playing compendium heroes in my games lately, and so have the people who I've been matched with, and it sucks.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't have
No.
5 people try new heroes at once.
No, we learned our lessons
do
that way.
3 solid heroes that your team
Cool,
knows.
yeah, all 5 of us are carries. This is going to go well.
Oh man, it has been rough, but it's such a good idea, but it has been a little bit brutal trying to get through my compendium heroes.
Mine too.
There's also a cool thing they added, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, where there you can buy sets equipment for your heroes, and not all heroes have sets. And then furthermore, there are these Arcana sets, which are the more expensive, really cool ones.
So the Lena set that came out, or
Sure,
Legion
where she had
Commander,
the fiery hair or whatever, right?
Yeah.
The $35.
Yeah, they're
But anyway,
really expensive.
you can now vote hey, we're going to give you this pool of 7. Vote on which hero you think deserves an Arcana set. And then,
Viper.
Yeah, Viper
Give
needs,
Viper a
Viper
set.
needs something. Shadow Fiend has nothing right now.
Although we know who's going to win. Pudge.
Of course Pudge is going to win.
Pudge just
man.
got that sweet Dendy set, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Pudge is going to absolutely get more, because Pudge
just
looks
got
the
a chainsaw.
coolest. Pudge looks the coolest of every hero with every set he gets. Everyone is going to vote for him because everyone loves him. He's the most played hero. He's going to get the most.
I think Juggernaut's the coolest looking
I
hero.
knew you were gonna say that.
A strong argument.
So excited to say
A
about
strong
Juggernaut.
counterpoint. That was the Marty Siebel counterpoint. You're wrong.
Oh man, I'm not sure who I want to vote for in the Arcana vote. I really like the idea of voting for characters who don't have a set yet, like Viper. I thought that was a smart suggestion, but I could definitely see the really favorited heroes getting one.
Yeah, it kind of sucks that you kind of have to go with the community. Okay, we know that these characters already have awesome sets, but we have to if we want someone else, we all have to gather together and vote for one that we know who might make it.
They're also doing a really good job recently of getting sets out there for heroes that didn't previously have them. The first Magnus set just came out. Lifestealer very recently got his first set.
His is so
and now
cool.
he has a bunch of cool ones.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I think that the compendium is an awesome way to sort of get people into TI4. It's not going to be out for a while. The actual tournament isn't until
July.
The
July
qualifiers
18th.
are happening right now.
Yes.
Yeah, but the qualifiers are happening right now. So if you need a Dota fix, hardcore Dota fix, you can totally tune in and watch those qualifiers. So let us know who you want to win the TI4 qualifiers and how your compendium is doing. And for more on the compendium, Mitch and I recently did a compendium conversation, which you can catch at IGN Arena on YouTube. So while you're there, be sure to subscribe. If you don't know the link, it's youtube.com/IGN Arena. So now we're going to go on to some League of Legends.
Yeah.
I've heard of that game.
It's pretty popular. Some people play it.
Some people. I like League of Legends a lot.
Yeah, so I think it was last year they released Thresh, who was the last support champion released for League. And they just released Braum.
Braum.
Heart of the Freljord.
Yes. Who is a very mustache.
He's a capital M man.
Yeah.
Mustachioed.
Yes,
Huge
totally.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, we talked about it earlier. I was showing everyone here how he plays. When you give Poros cookies, they get mustaches.
What?
No way!
Yeah.
Oh my
Poros
gosh.
are the little white creatures that you see in the ARAM map.
Amazing.
Why
I
do you
didn't
just do
know
that all
that.
the time?
Because
You only get one.
you only get one.
You only get one.
Mm.
But it's so worth it.
Yeah, so Braum, the release of Braum is going to be really, really interesting because I'm assuming he and Thresh, because Thresh still has a ton of utility, had a ton of nerfs actually, but he's still
Amazing.
amazing. So the thing, he's the closest thing I think to an actual Dota hero because a lot of League characters fit into archetypes that are like assassin, AD carry, top lane, bruiser, but none of them really have utility. It's like damage spell, and I guess you get a shield, and sometimes it's like like a boost for one of your stats. That's okay. he is the most, like, he can do so much stuff. Like, he has his lantern, which you can use to save people and use to make really awesome plays. He can
knock people back.
Knock people back, like his slow, all the different stuff is really interesting. Braum is the closest, I think, that where Riot is finally understanding, hey, if we're going to have supports, they need to be very, like, utility-based rather than, like stat-based. So Braum's, like, he has, like, his passive, like, every time you hit someone, you can after 4 hits, whether he hits or anyone else hits, you get a mini stun.
It's just within like a radius?
No. It's if you hit, like, I auto-attack you or use one of his spells, you get, like, a little debuff, and if someone hits you within, I think it's, like, 10 seconds, it stacks 4 times, then it's a stun.
But is it, like, any of your allies within a certain area also get that effect?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no. Yeah. It's your allies, any ally, no matter how far. I think, like, even Ezreal's ult could proc it, like, halfway across the map.
Okay.
Wow.
So if Braum is in the game, this passive sort of activates?
Yeah. So basically anyone, if you're landing with Braum, you have a stun if he can get a hit in.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is crazy because if you look at, like, marksman heroes who don't have a stun, like Jinx or something, or Caitlyn, like, you can murder people now because you can they can peg someone for 4 hits, and then they're stunned, and then you can just jump on them even harder.
That sounds infuriating.
Yeah. It really seems infuriating when you're watching it, too. So I imagine that he's going to be another character, like you were saying, that's going to get picked or banned a lot in these pro games.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. They just had All-Stars. All-Stars ended last weekend. So we haven't seen him really played besides, like, pro streams, but, like, at competitive level. I still think it's going to be really, really interesting. I'm looking forward to when the split starts back up again.
I love seeing new heroes in MOBAs that aren't fixed yet.
Like
when Earth Spirit came out in Dota 2.
So broken.
Man, he was
unstoppable.
Yeah.
And Valve had to be like, okay, hold on now.
Our bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Couldn't you use, like, one of his, like, statues as a ward if you put
No. So he could pull a creep.
Oh,
he did some weird thing where he could pull a creep, put it in the trees, and it would just get locked between 4 trees, and it would try to run, but it couldn't move. So it just acted as a constant ward in a really amazing place.
I hate that.
He was so good, but he required a lot of skill to use because you're, like, pulling people to you and, like, punching boulders in directions. Oh, it's amazing to see good players play him. But
the namesake of one of the teams in the qualifiers right now, ban Earth Spirit.
Ban Earth Spirit. So good.
So good. So do you like Braum? I mean, he's new, so I guess you haven't had
like
too much time.
He seemed like a lot of fun to play.
But yeah, he looks really fun.
Yeah, I really like playing support now. If it's a utility-based champion, just because it's like if you can do more rather than be like, I'm just going to be a meat shield.
So I have a dumb question. What's a utility-based support? Is utility like items?
No, utilities mean like you do something besides like heal or just absorb damage.
It's like you have abilities that you can use to help out your teammate
so
rather
you can
than
like raise their armor. Okay.
Totally.
Like,
and
Invoker is a utility character, basically.
Yeah.
And like Braum can like jump to you or whatever and use his shield on you. Like that's utility.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, anything that like actually benefits beyond like just stats or healing.
Nope, wrong podcast. Gotcha.
No. God damn it.
But you like him?
Yeah, I think he's really fun. I'm definitely going to play a little bit more League, actually, because I bought him today, and I want to use him some more.
The one thing I really liked about him, and I'm not really thinking of a similar hero in Dota right now, is that he defends his allies, but it's position-based.
Yes.
Like, you, like, warp to them, and then you have the shield, and that's blocking in one direction.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just seems pretty cool that you have to pay attention to where you are rather than just like having a passive or targeting a spell on someone.
I like him a lot because he's also like a tanky support, which is really cool because when I think of supports in Dota, I think like Crystal Maiden or Warlock or someone who's just going to get eaten like if someone goes on you, but Braum can take a lot of hits and his abilities increase his armor so he can take even more hits. So I really like that.
The closest thing I could think of is like Axe or like the support Wraith King that's really popular in the qualifiers right now. Just this huge beefy person who can run in and take hits and not care.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think he's cool. It sounds like you at least want to try him out some more. So what do you guys think? Have you guys been trying out Braum? Let us know. And make sure to check out our How to Kill Braum video on IGN Arena. There's 4 ways that we found that are awesome for killing Braum. So check that out at youtube.com/IGN Arena. And if you like it, make sure to subscribe. Now, we are going to move on. Indeed. To a topic that's kind of come up a lot over this past year, and that's how much MOBAs are influencing the industry, the gaming industry in particular. I mean, there have just been so many MOBAs sort of crop up over the last year in different genres, in different ways that it's just like, of course this is becoming a MOBA now. Or it's just like eye-rolling almost at this point.
It's sort of the RPG elements of today.
Yeah.
Because I played, what was it, like Wizorb. It's like a block-breaking game with RPG elements. It's like you add RPG elements and it makes it better.
Yep.
And like now that's happening with this.
It's funny to watch like the reaction of the the esportsy community be like, oh, that's getting a MOBA, okay. When it's like, no, this is like, it's good that we're getting all of these because it's bringing more attention to it and getting people who weren't interested in MOBAs before interested, which might lead to a bigger community for your game. But like we're seeing so much. Like Dawngate is this year. It's in beta alpha right now.
That's coming from EA, so
yep, that's huge. Like they are
Yep.
banking a lot on that. And this is like the first time we're seeing a huge AAA developer wade into this like terrifying territory. Obviously Riot and Valve are AAA, but when you think of like third party big, it's like the big three, right? It's Activision, EA, and Ubi. So EA is banking on Dawngate. We have Deep Silver doing the stupid Dead Island MOBA that looks terrible.
It's a Zomba.
Has anyone played it? Like I think it looks kind of dumb.
I haven't played it yet.
Okay.
No, haven't
So
played
there's
it yet.
that. The Infinite Crisis DC one is, what if MOBA was Batman?
Yeah.
And that's obviously like that's got its
I think
audience.
that's fun.
It seems cool.
Infinite
Yeah.
Crisis is pretty cool.
So we're seeing a ton of it, and I really think that this year is going to be like the year the MOBA breaks, where it becomes a thing that everybody is doing, that everybody is aware of, that even if you're not super into Dota or League or Heroes of Newerth or Heroes of the Storm, you're going to start being aware of other stuff. And it might not be something you play, but it will be something that you at least are starting to think about in the same way you think about other shooters that aren't Call of Duty and Battlefield.
Yeah, Leah and I were just talking about this. It's like we say FPS and RPG, everyone knows what that means, but people still don't really know what MOBA means.
I mean,
It also
MOBA's a bad
Also,
term.
that's a bad act.
So MOBA's a bad term, but it's also not like the universally accepted one like FPS is. RPGs tend to imply a certain thing, whether, Western, Eastern, whatever, it doesn't matter. You have an idea of what an RPG is. You have all these different terms where it's like, well, we're not a MOBA, we're a LOMA. Well, we're not either of those. We're like
Action RTS.
we're an action RTS. We're a lane game. It's like you just have all these different names. Like you have all these different names for the genre, and then all the terminology within your game is different. Like, no, we're champions. No, we're heroes. We're what's the Dawngate name for their characters?
Oh man,
It's something really dumb.
it's not summoners, but it's something along those
I'll bring it up in
lines.
my inbox because it's really hilarious. But the point being, like, the terminology is confusing. But I think we're going to reach such critical mass that it's not really going to matter what it's called, because the idea of like, oh, it's that kind of game is going to start mattering to people.
And a lot of MOBA elements, RPG elements, MOBA elements are sort of making their way into other games in the industry now too. Like you sort of see minions creeping along in Titanfall. I've heard.
Yeah, like there are non-player characters running around. I mean, they're kind of creeps.
Yeah, that's
and that's
what
like
I've
in a
been
really
hearing.
small way. But in some games, like I just checked out Human Head's new third-person shooter,
Minimum.
and it's like this is the creep wave where you're running around getting creeps, and then you have to like bust past the enemy's walls, which are turrets, and kill their base. Like that format.
Familiar?
I want to know if they're called Shapers. It just came
It's
to my
Shapers.
head,
It's
and I
Shapers.
just
That's
didn't,
it.
I didn't want it to leave my
Terrible
mind.
name.
I couldn't wait.
Dawngate
Whatever.
characters are called Shapers.
I think
Whatever, you say Lord Management.
I think a couple days ago you mentioned
Good man,
Star
there's
Wars
some-
Battlefront and like how that was kind of like an early MOBA
Right.
before.
Like if you look back
think
at
about-
Star
without
Wars
that.
Battlefront, and this is because like I started thinking a lot like, wouldn't it be really cool if Star Wars Battlefront was a MOBA? Like the new one from DICE, what if that was a MOBA, but like a shooter? Like a third-person shooter like a MOBA. Oh, wait, that's exactly what Star Wars Battlefront was. Because you played the creep wave. Like, you had AI guys running around with you. You were kind of a hero in that you were like, oh, I'm the sniper stormtrooper. But you were still just an expendable guy. You were just a normal hero, or like a normal soldier, and you weren't a hero. You would unlock heroes by doing well. So you would be like, oh, man, Boba Fett's here. And he would come and clean up the wave. And you would basically just push and push and push these different lanes to capture these control points. It was a MOBA in a weird way. And I really hope that they maintain that in the core of whatever the new Battlefront is, but realize like, oh man, this is a MOBA, and
You think
Dota
they'd
is
be more
really cool.
explicit about that?
I would love that. Especially if they do what they used to do with like Battlefront 2, where you played well, you unlocked a playable Jedi or a playable bounty hunter or whatever, and then that changes the element a lot. Like I would actually like if they didn't have play as Han Solo, because that was really dumb.
So if you could have a MOBA,
Yeah.
if a MOBA was going to be announced at E3 this year, would you want it to be a Star Wars MOBA?
Yes. If it's not Battlefront, like if there is a straight up Star Wars MOBA, that would be incredible.
I'm still holding out for Nintendo.
Nintendo would be really
Nintendo.
great.
Or Pokemon MOBA.
Pokemon would be great.
Pokemon.
We were talking about this in the office earlier. Like I was like, oh yeah, Star Wars MOBA would be really good, and someone brought up the point like, why not just do it like in Disney Infinity?
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, anything that Disney owns at this point.
Exactly.
Would be incredible.
Like
Like
Disney
Marvel
princesses,
superheroes, exactly.
MOBA,
The movie
oh my God, it'd be
characters,
so cool.
Star Wars, like that could all exist in one game, and you could do that with Infinity. Like Infinity, the way they're doing it, like Disney Infinity 2.0, like the superheroes thing, they're adding this sandbox mode where you can make games in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, why don't you just do a MOBA in there? Why don't you just make that?
That would
like,
be
you
so
could have
fun.
Captain America fighting alongside Obi-Wan Kenobi and Mickey Mouse beating the snot out of
whatever.
like Goofy and Spider-Man. Like, I would love that. It'd be amazing.
Our team name is Goof Troop.
Yeah, no, it would come full circle.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would be so good. If you guys could create a MOBA, what would it be? Would it be Disney? Would it be Star Wars? Would it be something else? Who knows? I don't know. Let us know in the comments. And make sure, if you are a huge MOBA fan and want to check out the new MOBAs that are coming out that we sort of mentioned and that will be announced at E3 this year, make sure to subscribe to IGN Arena at youtube.com/IGN Arena for all the latest news
Indeed.
on your MOBA goodness.
Ooh, I like those MOBAs.
I like those MOBAs too.
Harry Potter MOBA.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so good.
Done.
You fly around on brooms as your mount.
What would be the creeps?
Just
Snitches.
waves of snitches. yeah, we were on the same page there.
Oh my gosh, that would be so much fun.
An army of Ron Weasleys.
Oh.
Ron would be a support character. He's such a bitch.
Whoa! Shots fired. Jeez.
Wow.
Okay.
Shots fired on Ron.
He's all right, I guess. I like Ron. I take it all back.
Someone get on that.
All right, I think that'll do it for our first episode of
First
the
blood.
IGN Arena
First blood.
First blood.
our first blood on the IGN Arena podcast.
Do we have
Yep.
to all like put our wrists in?
Let's
and
not do
out
this.
and-
No,
Let's
James,
not
put your
do
hand
that.
back. Retract your hand.
Take your hand back.
Don't touch me.
Just get out.
Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of the IGN Arena podcast. We really appreciate it. For more on MOBAs, make sure that you check out IGN Arena on YouTube at youtube.com/IGN Arena and let us know what you think and what you want to see next time. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.